Viewers, it is monologue time again. I'm your host Sree Iyer from PGurus.com. This recording is being done before the election results for the Delhi elections are announced. And who's going to win, who's going to lose, we don't know yet. The exit polls have predicted a clear winner. However, there have been some doubts expressed about the fact that exit polls tend to, how should I say this, make up their minds before the polling closes, and one can never say. It's like the soprano, it's not over until the fat lady sings, which is the normal thing that you refer to in an opera, that until the soprano comes and sings, the opera is not over. So we have to still see how things play out. But several things that I thought were interesting came out in this. How should I say this? This battle for a glorified mayor's position. Why I say that is because Delhi state or Delhi elections, these are not a Delhi is not a full-fledged state. It's got limits on how many things the chief minister can do. And you have seen the last 6 years where Arvind Kejriwal has continuously tried to say, we would like to do all these things, but the central government is not allowing us to do that. It was sometimes the central government, it was sometimes the lieutenant governor, but he likes to blame others. As to what he has really done, I don't know. Maybe the people on the ground at Delhi have a better idea of what the Aam Aadmi Party has achieved. The other thing was 3 months leading up to the elections, water bills and electricity bills, I believe, were not being charged. Essentially, people were being allowed to use them for free. And that begs the question, where is that money going to come from? For the ones who supplied the water and the companies that supplied the electricity, who's going to pay them? Where is Mr. Kejriwal going to find the money? Or is he going to say, well, I'm done, if in case he doesn't come back to power? It will be the pleasure of the incoming government to pay all the older bills. So is this irresponsible governance? Absolutely. You don't have the kind of money that you can spend when it is free. So essentially, whenever you give something away for free, two bad things happen. One is there is some maintenance money required just to keep the infrastructure going. If a water line bursts, it has to be repaired. If a transformer blows up, that has to be replaced. So there's always cost involved with all these things. Natural calamities happen, so there is money required to upkeep all these things. When there is no incoming revenue, guess what happens? The company that is managing the water supply stops working. So these things start building up. So it never is a good idea to give something for free. People have to know that they are getting something for which they are giving all these things. The second big problem when you give something away for free is you change the mindset of the people. People start thinking, oh, I got this for free. Why should I have to pay for it again? Guess what? You have to, because it takes a lot of work to supply clean water and good reliable electricity. There's a lot of coal being burned for electricity or water hydroelectric power. And that needs to come from somewhere down to Delhi. And likewise, the water is continuously tested to make sure there is no bacteria, any disease-borne things on the water that's being supplied. So a lot of work goes into it. So you should not assume that water is going to come for free forever. So I believe that the people of Delhi are in for a nasty shock come the next government. Either they'll have to go back and charge a little bit more from this point forward for the 3 months that they did not charge, or they'll have to find some other way. And I can't, for my lights, can figure out where they are going to find the money to pay 3 months of bills for the entire population of Delhi. It's just mind-boggling. I mean, not everybody had to go free, but a sizable amount of people did not have to pay for water and electricity. And this includes many more middle-class families also. So I'm kind of curious to see where Mr. Kejriwal, what kind of rabbit he is going to get out of his hat to try and pay this thing. As to the other part, which was these protests, which started out as being anti-CAA and then morphed into something much more sinister, in my opinion. And this led to blocking of a highway, causing numerous traffic jams. People who used to take 25 minutes, 30 minutes for commute were spending 2 hours to get to their place. Loss of productivity, a lot of time spent on the road, pollution and frustration. God knows how many new accidents happened because of this. All this was happening while the law and order just watched. Well, law and order is not the responsibility of the AAP government. It is the responsibility of the Home Ministry of the central government. Now, one can ask the question, how is it that the Home Ministry did not know that people were congregating at this place called Shaheen Bagh over a period of time? I'm sure it didn't start out with 20,000 people the first day. It has been evolving. If you notice these protests, they started with one thing and then they started going somewhere else. As Yogi Adityanath clamped down on people who were damaging public property, that went away, thank God. Then they started singing the national anthem. Then they started protesting. So there's a lot of flavors. People are planning on the fly, improvising, but the government, which is in this case the Home Ministry, just stood and watched. What were they thinking? Were they thinking that all this disruption will be hung on the neck of Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, and therefore will pay them electoral dividends by having a counter consolidation? I don't know what was going on in the minds of Home Ministry and the Home Minister, but I would like to ask, as a common citizen, why was that citizen just bearing with all these things? Somewhere somebody should have said, look, I have my right to go and use this road because I'm paying the taxes, and I would expect the government, which is supposed to establish law and order, to clear up this thing for me. Why was that not done? So just getting back to the Shaheen Bagh protest, it wasn't 20,000 from the day one. It was probably 300, 400, and then it started picking up momentum when word of mouth started going around that you are actually going to be paid for just sitting there. And then they started improvising by putting children in the front, then women, and then the men, and essentially it was becoming a rogue island. Now, surely intelligence would have given the Home Ministry inputs that this is happening, that this money is flowing in, that if this is nipped in the bud, this problem won't come up to this level. I mean, political dividends aside, what is so important for the BJP government to win this election? It's just a small, it's a tiny municipality with not a lot of power. So the reason I'm asking all these questions is the stakes have become very, very high. Modi ji campaign, Amit Shah campaign, JP Nadda campaign, and many other cabinet ministers campaign, many MPs campaign. Fine, it's all great that you're taking it in all seriousness, but at the end of the day, how do you know what the voter was thinking? Did he or she penalize you for not doing your job for maintaining law and order, or is he going to penalize the other party, the Aam Aadmi Party, which, by the way, was speaking from both sides of its voice? Arvind Kejriwal says you have to clean out the protesters, whereas you saw the Amanatullah Khan, he was the guy who was behind all these things, getting people together. So this doublespeak is, well, standard par for the course for politicians. So you can't single out any one individual for that. But the more important thing that comes about here is what happened to maintenance of basic law and order? Isn't that a right? Shouldn't the common man expect that they want to go from place A to place B in a safe way, that they can go and do their job? Who is going to pay for the lost productivity of spending 2 hours instead of 25 minutes of commute time on the road? This is actually, if it's one direction, 2 hours is 4 hours a day. That adds up, So there's a lot of serious questions that need to be asked. At what cost are you going to allow some of this nonsensical protests? Because why I say nonsensical is because not one person there could explain what the protest was about, could explain what it is that they find objectionable in the CAA. And we know that it's only 3 pages long. So it's all, carefully choreographed, orchestrated with some means in mind. And I hope the average Delhi voter chose wisely. Thanks for listening, and do subscribe to PGurus channel. you.